And Jonathan, so glad to be here with you. Like Noah said, we asked Jonathan to come on stage with us because we've seen that he's really done an incredible job just getting into the experimentation with AI and helping AWS, this really large organization, find really innovative ways to bring it into their workflows. So before we start, I think probably everyone in the room is familiar to some degree with Amazon Web Services. Jonathan works on the AWS Marketplace team, and I'll just ask you to give us a little bit of an intro to the Marketplace team and what you all do.
Absolutely. So AWS Marketplace is a lot like Amazon.com because it is a store, it's a marketplace. But with Marketplace, what we're doing is we're allowing ISVs to list their solutions directly on AWS Marketplace. And then our customers can come in, they can discover all of these solutions, they can deploy them really easily, and it allows them to scale and implement their solutions really quickly in terms of AWS workloads and AWS applications. And so what my marketing team does is we specifically support the growth of AWS Marketplace. And we do so with go-to-market strategies, we do it with marketing programs. And what we're looking to do is to educate our customers. We want to raise awareness of AWS Marketplace and essentially just accelerate the adoption of the listings. And so we run a ton of marketing campaigns throughout the year. And what my team does specifically is we ensure that all the integration in the back end is working properly. We're working with a lot of different systems, a lot of different tools and processes. And so we build out these automations and workflows that are really designed and are focused on improving productivity, improving efficiency, and then we just kind of throw AI pixie dust at everything and hope for the best.
Awesome. And you've built this really impressive application called Aurora. We're going to see some demos of it in just a few minutes. Could you just give us a little bit of the background behind why did you decide to build this application? What were some of the pain points you were running into? And what does Aurora do for AWS Marketplace?
Sure. So like I was saying, our marketing programs are very complex. I mean, even just in terms of communication, we're working with external agencies to build out content. We're working with engineering to build technical documentation, technical infrastructure, and we even work with internal stakeholders and teams that own specific processes that we're dependent on, and that's just communication. And so we've kind of identified three primary challenges that I think many of your organizations at some point or another probably also faced. So the first one is tool sprawl. Our digital teams are all using specific tools that they find an affinity for, but that doesn't mean that everyone is specifically using the same one. So we've created data silos unintentionally. Number two is reduced automation. So because of these data silos and this inconsistency, we, as my team, we found it difficult to build out automations that can scale to the entire organization. And then lastly, from a leadership perspective, we have ineffective reporting, or we used to have ineffective reporting because there was no way to really organize all of our campaigns, evaluate the specificities of a specific campaign, and then compare it against other campaigns year over year or month over month, et cetera. So we went over to AI, and initially we started to build out these single-use applications so we can support key initiatives, key automations, and that worked out really, really well. And we've been using Airtable for a while, and Airtable has matured over time, and our investment has matured. And so we've kind of thought, hey, why don't we just consolidate all of these single-use applications, create a more formalized system, and then we can build out this, monstrous application, which we now call Aurora.
Awesome. Yeah. And you guys have really been kind of at the forefront that we've seen amongst our customer base of finding use cases for AI within marketing operations. We're going to go through 4 today, but can you just tell us a little bit about how these use cases kind of came about and how you identified these opportunities to bring AI into your marketing workflows?
Yeah. And you know what? I'll actually begin by explaining what Aurora is and then walk through the AI use cases.
Yeah.
So just briefly speaking, Aurora is an end-to-end campaign management system. So if you think of Airtable as a factory, Aurora is an assembly line. and it's processing each campaign from start to finish. So we're including campaign ideation, content creation with agencies. We integrate with our marketing automation platform so we can sync data automatically to those to create resources like emails and landing pages. And then also for reporting, we're bringing data back in from our CRM so we can evaluate campaign performance. So let's talk about the AI use cases, and we'll start with the first one, which is content suggestions. So one thing I want to mention is that we've built out these really sophisticated prompts in the back end. I'm not able to show you guys those prompts today, but you will be able to see the output and you'll be able to see visually how this works. So first one is content suggestions, and we work with many content agencies to develop emails and landing pages, paid media ads, organic social media. And so we're always in the process of developing and iterating on content. So here you see an example of an email being created. And as this email is being developed and the content is being developed, we're able to have the AI in the back end generate suggestions that are really applicable to this content. And what makes this a little bit different than other use cases is that we're providing business justifications and actual, tangible reasons for why you might want to make changes to this content, and not just saying, hey, here's a couple of suggestions and do X, Y, and Z. So we use this for every single piece of content that we create with our agencies and alone by ourselves. And it's been really impactful for us.
Who gives better feedback, the humans or the AI?
The AI.
Yeah. So who are some of the folks in your team that are using this tool for their content suggestions?
Yeah, so it's primarily our campaign managers who own the end-to-end execution of the campaign. But when they feel like content is finalized, they're ready to submit that over, we have digital teams that also look over the content, and they're also utilizing the suggestions to make sure that the content is refined, it's at its best, and it's most importantly, it's applicable to our customers, it's relevant to our customers, so then they feel the real impact of that.
Yeah, very cool. Let's take a look at this next one. So content generation.
Yeah, content generation is a new area for us because we're sort of taking this to the next level. We're not at a stage yet where we're completely generating the content for a campaign end to end. However, we have begun experimenting with sales enablement. So when a campaign ends, we have a list of very high qualifying leads, and we want our sales teams to reach out to them. And so in the past, what we've done is we've worked with agencies to create call scripts and emails, even LinkedIn InMail, and this content is very costly and expensive. It takes time and resources. And so what we've done instead is use Airtable AI to utilize content that already exists on Airtable. So for example, you saw the landing page data, and then we're utilizing that data to create really impactful and relevant call scripts and emails so our sales enablement teams can use. So this is one of the first things that we're sort of utilizing content generation for, and we're going to continue to figure out where else we can fit this in.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And so these teams are then, how much editing is required by them before they actually go start using these in their campaigns or?
Not much.
Yeah.
Not much.
Yeah.
Claude is kind of in the back end here, and it does a really good job in terms of speaking like a human, a little bit better than ChatGPT, for example. And so it is creating these more human focused and personal, it's adding a personal touch to the content. And so it does a pretty good job where we don't need to edit very much of it.
Yeah, and you're using past content as well, right? So you're incorporating, giving it examples of what you want the output to look like.
Exactly. We have, for example, in the prompt, examples of really high performing sales enablement content. And then we use that as a template to provide to the AI so then it knows how to format the output for our sales teams.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at chat. These next two chat use cases that you've come up with, I thought were so innovative and interesting. So the first one here that you call AI chat, tell us a little bit about how you came up with this need within your team.
Man, this one was really cool. So chat with data is really interesting because what we've done is we've taken ChatGPT and brought it into Airtable. We're using advanced functionality in Airtable. We have automations and JavaScript functionality in the back end. And what we're doing here is we're making an AI that is hyper context aware. It has this sort of all this data in the back end that it's able to utilize toward its responses in a way where ChatGPT cannot. So for example, you see here, we're asking for a specific framework for an offer and a campaign, and it's utilizing the data that already exists in Airtable to create an alpha for us. That's really different from ChatGPT because we have to always repeatedly copy content, copy data, bring it over into ChatGPT or other AI models. And here what we're doing is we're bringing it over to Airtable. So I find this to be a really great value add. It allows our teams, our leaders, to ask very relevant questions about our data, to ask questions about content. We can create content that it knows that is our voice and our brand. And most importantly, we have this conversation flow, so we can ask follow-up questions. We can create, additional asks and needs over time. So it's really cool.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
And so this last one is really unique, I thought, and that you're actually kind of using AI to help train and enable your own employees and your own team, building off of this kind of chat with data idea. Can you kind of let us know or share a little bit about how you put this training use case together?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So what we've done is start to experiment with leveraging AI for enablement and training purposes. And so we had created 4 hours of training content for our users to be able to understand how to use Aurora, what the process is and the key workflows are like. And so what we've done is transcribe all of that content, and then we fed the transcriptions over to AI. So it is very well tuned on Aurora and its processes. And now what that means is as we're onboarding new users, we hire new employees that use Aurora, they're able to ask questions and understand specific workflows and work streams that exist in Aurora. And they can get like a full SOP, like as you see in the video, on how to do certain things. So Claude has a huge context limit, so we're able to really feed in all this data, and it still somehow is able to parse it, understand it, and provide real, SOPs that are real processes for our team. So that's been a really, really interesting use case.
Awesome. So across these use cases, what is, you mentioned kind of, you started out using ChatGPT, other tools. What's the value that you've seen of building some of these workflows yourself and embedding AI within the workflow versus using a chat type tool?
Yeah. So I should say that Amazon does not use ChatGPT. However, other chatbots that exist, and for personal use, they're really, really interesting. And they're amazing. So, you start with a blank slate with a conversation, you can go anywhere. It's really flexible. I think eventually what happens is as an organization develops and becomes more in tune with AI, you start to think about how can we create these repeatable AI processes and also bring data that is specific to the business so that the AI is aware of that. And so what we've learned with Airtable AI is rather than having to take all of our data, bring it to the AI every time, Airtable AI allows us to take the AI and layer it on top of our data. And so that's a huge, huge selling point. It's a huge value proposition because what that means is we can take, our existing processes, we can maintain all of our work streams and really easily without any engineering effort, layer this AI functionality on top of it, and then suddenly we have all these amazing capabilities that we didn't even have to build. It's just kind of built in. So yeah, I would recommend that as a really key tool for transforming your businesses.
Awesome. And to wrap us up, what advice would you give to everyone in the room who wants to get started on bringing AI into their own marketing operations?
Yeah, so I have 3 pieces of advice. One, Jen mentioned this, and I love it because it's so important. just start with something. I don't think it's worth waiting to connect the dots, figuring out how to, make this impressive AI system all work together. Just start with something. And if you don't know where to start, my second advice is listen to your groups and listen to your teams. They are always voicing their opinion on what challenges they have. Use AI and tackle those challenges and be able to, just start somewhere and then connect the dots later. And then my last piece of advice is really use AI in terms of augmenting human as opposed to replacing humans. AI only has as much context as we provide it. And so humans can retain long-term memory. Humans can make inferences that AI cannot. So let's rely on humans. Let's lean on humans to continue to strategize and then allow AI to kind of take on the technical execution work.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. And thanks for sharing all the great work that you've done at AWS.
Thank you so much.